Alrighty, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Katie Deal. I am the new Solid Waste Management Annual Report Editor. I did have the opportunity to work on the report in 2019 and 2020, and then last year I was able to work as the Smart Business Program Manager, so I was kind of working on the report, but now I'm back in it full speed ahead. But we just want to thank everybody for jumping on today. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to take a moment to meet the new team. As you may or may not know, Jana White retired at the end of last year, and we do have a new section manager, Sally Williams, who you will get to meet in just a moment. And so we'll take a minute to go over our new section, and we'll go over the reporting recap. Brian Norman, who will be handling full cost going forward, is going to give us a little rundown on that, and then we'll have a minute to get some feedback from you guys on what you would like to see from the annual report moving forward. Just a reminder, you are muted. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box, or if you'd like to speak, raise your hand and we will get you unmuted and try to answer those questions as best as we can today. Alrighty, so we'll meet the team. So I'm going to pass it over to Sally, our new section manager, and let her introduce herself.
Okay, thank you, Katie. There we go. See if I can turn my camera on. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Sally Williams, and like Katie said, I'm the new section manager for the new Solid Waste Regulation Development Planning and Reporting section. Just further introduce myself, I've been at DHEC for almost 11 years now. I have done solid and hazardous waste compliance, a little bit of time in underground storage tanks, and so now I'm coming down to the solid waste regulation side. Just wanted to introduce ourselves and thank you for joining us today, and thank you Katie and Catherine for putting this together as a refresher. And so I will turn it over now to Celeste.
All right. Good morning. I'm Celeste Duckett. You may have worked with me in the past with solid waste grants. I have been doing solid waste planning now for 20 years, I guess. I've been with DHEC 31 years in compliance and in planning. Those seem to be my specialties these days. I am also Katie's assistant editor. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings to the annual report because she did a great job before. So she's going to make my job really, really easy. You will still be working with me if you have solid waste planning needs, if you're going through permitting and that kind of thing. But today we're focused on the annual report, and I am the backup. And welcome. Looking forward to working with you in a new capacity. Okay. And I will pass it on to who gets it next? Brian? Take it away, Brian.
That is.
Sorry. Yes, Brian is next. Sorry.
Oh, no worries at all. Yeah, thank you, Celeste. As you all know, my name is Brian Norman, and I'm going to be taking care of the full cost disclosure moving forward and working alongside Celeste. And I am new here, so I'm looking forward to working with y'all. And if y'all have any questions with the full cost after today, feel free to shoot me an email. We've also got a new email for full cost disclosure, which I'll be sharing with y'all later today as well. So looking forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Wilbur. I work in regulation development. I've been working in it for about a little over 2 years. I don't have much to do with the solid waste annual report, but I'm just here to introduce myself. Currently in regulation development, we're working on one rule regarding end-of-life solar panels or PV modules. We do expect, especially if H4775 passes this year, to have some regulation development on the electronic waste or e-scrap front. And that's all I have to say about regulation development right now. I can give it back to Katie.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you everybody else for taking a second to introduce yourselves. I am going to go ahead and say I will hopefully be out by the end of this month on maternity leave. So I'm expecting my first baby. So if you have any questions leading up to the report, feel free to reach out to Sally or Celeste. And I should be back end of July, beginning of August, right as we're getting back into the reporting season. That's why I wanted to go ahead and do this today, so that way we have everything ready. And if anybody has any questions, hopefully we can get those taken care of ahead of time. But we're going to move right on now into our reporting review. So why do we have to report? I know we talk about this every year, but it is required by law for counties and municipalities to report their solid waste activities to us. The annual report does act as an update to the state plan. We use it, all of your data for the annual report, as we said, we use it to show trends and obstacles in our state and to capture the state of recycling within the county and the state. So reporting is very important. It's part of state law and regulations, which is why it's underneath our new section. So we want to make sure that we're getting the most accurate, up-to-date data from you guys. So here are our fiscal year 22 due dates. Again, the fiscal year is July 1st of 2021 through June 30th of 2022 this year. That'll be fiscal year 2022, and that reporting will start on July 1st of 2022 this year. All of the recycling reports are still due on the same day that they have been in the past. Residential recycling is September 1st. Annual local government is the 15th, as well as the earned revenue. Full cost disclosure is due to us on October the 15th, but has to be published by October the 1st. And then business surveys are due November 1st. Alex Miller has taken over as the Smart Business Program Manager, so any business survey related questions, feel free to reach out to her for those. And just in case you guys don't get the ReTrack update emails, they are no longer being supported by Internet Explorer. So if you are using Internet Explorer to access your ReTrack account, starting this summer, you won't be able to do that, but you can use Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or Safari. And if you have any complications getting into your account, feel free to reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to help you get into it. And then, as always, those landfill and transfer station reports will be due by September 1st to the Division of Compliance. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to them. All right, so now we're going to take a second to talk about the recycling surveys on ReTrack. I know that they don't change much over the years, but I always find it's helpful to go ahead and hit those high notes while we can, while it's still fresh in our brains. So first we'll talk about that annual local government survey. This is how we keep up to date with what's going on in your counties. Drop-off centers, if they're opening or closing, curbside programs. We use this data in the annual report, as well as Alex uses it for her purposes and the keeping the website up to date. Even if nothing has changed in your county, we still want you to fill out this survey. It's important information for us to know. So this is what that survey looks like on ReTrack. It's just a series of questions. There's no true data to deal with this one. It's just a yes, no kind of survey. I know it may seem tedious after a while, but please make sure that we are filling that out. Okay, next we're going to talk about our earned revenue survey. This is how we determine what you guys are making money off of the sale of your recycled materials. We haven't used this information a lot in the past, but going forward, we're having some discussions about looking at it in the lens of full cost as well. So if you are making money off the sale of your recyclable materials, please make sure that you're filling out that earned revenue survey. It's good for us to know, and it helps going forward with your programs when you can take it to your councils and say, hey, but we are making some money off of this recycling. We're just also spending this much. But please make sure that you are filling out that earned revenue survey as well. All right, and the real meat and potatoes of the annual report is, of course, your residential recycling surveys. This is where we get the main source of data for your recycling percentages. Please make sure that you are reporting for anywhere you collect recycling from. Curbside programs, collection centers, municipalities should be sending in this data. We want to make sure that we are reporting the most accurate information. So those residential recycling surveys are the meat and potatoes of the report. So let's make sure that we're getting that data in by the deadline. This is what those surveys look like. I know most everybody has seen them before. Make sure that you're putting the date as June 30th, 2022, so that way it stays within our reporting year. If you are going to report more than one survey, make sure that you're labeling where it's coming from in the generator box. So like if you have if you're a county that has a curbside program, plus you have collection centers, and you're reporting that material separately, make sure that you're labeling it just so that way if we have questions, we can call and say, hey, we've got some odd data here from your collection center, and it just helps us narrow that down a little bit easier. We also want to make sure that we're reporting in the correct unit of measurement, pounds or tons. Retrack will automatically convert your pounds into tons, but if you are reporting in pounds, just make sure that you click that drop-down box and select pounds, and we're entering the amount of recycled material in that recycled box with our decimals in the right places, because sometimes that can change it from 1 ton to 1,000 tons. So I know you guys have all seen this before, but just while we're fresh in our brains, let's go ahead and make sure that we're getting it into the right places. Okay, next are business surveys. As I said before, Alex Miller has taken over as the South Carolina Smart Business Program Manager. So she is the one to go to with any questions about businesses. But I just wanted to take a second to review the 3 different types of categories that we do collect data from and where they go. So we do have our commercial and institutional. This would be businesses, hospitals, schools, offices, anywhere where they're selling commercial items or institutional places. Then we also have our industrial office packaging. This would be for people who report post-consumer recycling, such as paper and aluminum cans from their office space or break room, or anything that they're using, like shipping boxes, pallets, that kind of thing, that is considered post-consumer. We also have our industrial processing manufacturing survey. This is for industrial businesses who report pre-consumer goods, so like a tire manufacturer that has extra rubber from their line. They're going to report that as pre-consumer. So all of that data should go into the processing manufacturing survey. And we'll take a second to look over those. These are your 3 surveys. Just like the residential recycling, make sure that date's in there, the generator. If you have any notes about the program, put those in there. And now I'm going to pass it over to Brian to talk about full cost disclosure.
Thank you so much, Katie. And again, thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Brian Norman, and last year I helped out a little bit with Celeste on the full cost disclosure, so I am familiar with it, and I'm excited to excuse me, take over this moving forward. as y'all may know or are familiar with, full cost disclosure is the Regulation 61 107.2. Now, what we use this for is to measure the expenditures of local governments and the counties, and we want to make sure we get these submissions in from y'all so that way we can give y'all the grants as well. We want to make sure that we can get that money out and everyone's qualified. So we want to get this report in on October 15th, and this is annually, it does not change, so be sure to get this in. What this includes is the public notice and also the report. So how much your county or local government has spent on the year for solid waste programs, everything that may entail that. So yes, be sure to get that in by October 15th. From 2021, we saw a decrease of approximately 2.3% of the state total cost. So, we want to encourage that we get these numbers in accurately and consistent. If there may be someone else that's coming in following, maybe you or whoever it is that's getting those numbers in, be sure to try and keep that consistent for us. And this year we have a new email as well, and that is the sw_fcdr@dhec.sc.gov. Feel free to send any questions in through there, any comments, questions, concerns. That report, send it all through there, and my email will also be included at the end of the slideshow. So really that hits all the main points, and looking forward to our future endeavors. Thank you, everyone. I'll pass it back to Katie.
Thank you, Brian. Alrighty, well, now here's the fun part. We wanted to take some time to really hear back from you guys. We know that y'all are the ones that use the annual report most often, excluding our department. So what's working for you guys? Where do you think we can improve? Any suggestions on how the annual report can better fit your needs? We want to hear from you. So if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, put those in the chat box, or if you want to raise your hand, we can turn on your mic. We are excited to kind of turn the report back a little bit more towards what it was intended to be in the beginning. So while we're still focusing on recycling, we are going to focus a little bit more on landfill reporting, planning, because the annual report is supposed to be an update to the solid waste management plan. So if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Nobody?
Katie, I have a suggestion also. If anyone is involved in planning, if you're the person responsible for your planning activities or revising your your local plan, or in submitting your permit applications, most of you would know that we use the annual report data to support our decisions. So if you have any planning issues or concerns, you can direct those to me, and we can follow up with anything that you think needs to be adjusted in the annual report that's related to planning, because the two actually function very closely together. And sometimes we've gotten a little separate, but they really are interwoven and dependent on each other. So if there's anyone out there involved in planning or writing state plans, we also have guidance for that. And if there's anything that the annual report is not satisfying in terms of your local plan, let us know, and we can kind of, we're in a good position to tweak it, to bring it back to what it was intended for. I think Katie made that point. That's a good point, because it's changed over time. We've evolved. So if there's something we need to rein back in or bring it back around, this is the time to do it. So that's what I wanted to add to your presentation, Katie.
Thank you, Celeste. And we do have a question in the chat. Can you please discuss how DHEC reaches out to companies for statewide numbers? So when I was over the Smart Business Program, I would shop around for contacts. Some of the contacts I did receive from you guys. Have these statewide numbers that you can share with us. I did have meetings with places like Lowe's, the home store, not the food store, where I would just like take a minute to just kind of discuss what the annual report was about, why we needed to see their data, because there are some bigger businesses that are not being captured that we were pushing real hard for last year. I'm not sure where it's going to go next year, but I'm sure Alex will be able to answer those questions for you guys. Can you discuss MSW and TSW and how the difference in these two are addressed in the annual reporting? So MSW is municipal solid waste, TSW is total solid waste. So we report MSW because it is an EPA guideline. They set forth what is considered MSW, and then we have TSW. So MSW is anything that could be collected from a resident, whereas TSW is like those pre-consumer goods. So TSW is used for our overall recycling percentages, whereas MSW is only used in the recycling portion of the annual report. So those MSW we use because it is an EPA guideline. Any other questions? Any suggestions on how we can improve the report? We want to hear your feedback. So, you know, if you have any suggestions, we are open to hearing that. And we'll make sure that that full cost disclosure email address is put in the chat as well. With grinding of yard debris and the reuse of that debris.
I'll type that right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome.
Yard debris. Oh goodness, Rob. Let's see. I believe it is considered part of MSW, but I'm going to have to double check on that. In that full cost disclosure email we just put in the chat. Could you email me? Yes, we will make sure that the slides and the recording are distributed after the meeting is over. We can send it out later this week, or we can send it out closer to the reporting period. July 1st is when reporting opens, or we can do both, whatever you guys prefer. Both, we can definitely do both. Any suggestions? How we can improve? We really want to make sure that this is a document that you guys can use and we can use for our purposes. So we're looking forward to doing a little bit of readjusting in the future. Now that we are taking it over, we have some big plans, so hopefully they will come out the way we intend. More detail for those who are new to the industry. We can definitely make sure to add what kind of details, like the MSW versus TSW, where we collect the information from. Landfill details, we can definitely give some of those. What full cost means, definitions, etc. We can definitely do that. We'll have Brian here write up a page about full cost disclosure.
Of course.
I think that's one of those things that once you get it, but it takes you a while to get there, because I still fully don't understand full cost. Any other questions? I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time today. I appreciate everyone logging on to hear our update. I know that the reporting period just finished and the annual report for 21 was just published. And normally we would wait until a little bit closer to the report to do these kinds of things, but like I said, I will be out hopefully sooner rather than later. So Sally and Celeste will be able to answer any questions that anyone may have while I am out, and I will be back end of July, beginning of August, just kind of depending on what happens in the next couple weeks. So I just put the screen up with all of our contact information. If anyone needs to get in touch with us, feel free to reach out to us here. We also have the solid waste regulation development email there for Sally, or Tim also checks that email. So if you have any regulation questions, you can get in touch with Tim that way as well. And we will make sure if anybody needs his contact information, we'll get that to you. Sally, you got anything you want to add?
I'm good.
All righty. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we look forward to working with everybody in the next reporting period.